Hello again, everybody. Zacatech is here, my WWE Raw review for tonight, Monday, December 28th, the final Raw of 2015, taking place tonight from the Barclays Center in New York City, Brooklyn, to be more exactly. Before I give you my thoughts on the Raw tonight, I had to acknowledge a celebrity death that happened during the Raw broadcast tonight. Although it is a music-related death, a death of a heavy metal legend, it is a death that has a lot of wrestling connections. A lead singer of a band that performed several themes for WWE, more specifically for Triple H. I'm referring to the one and only Lemmy. It's time to play the game. He of course sung this song. Time to play the game. Time to play the game. And also the Evolution theme song. And of course the theme song currently for the Authority. Bow down to the king. Because Lemmy died at the age of 70 after being diagnosed with cancer just 2 days ago. We all know Lemmy had his health issues about canceling shows because of health problems, so it's been a sad time for him, but he's been powering through, including performing a couple of dates of the tour, and even making a new album. And Ace of Spades was recently the theme of NXT TakeOver London. So I have to acknowledge the death of Lemmy since it came right after my tagline happened today. So, here's to you, Lemmy, with my Warrior glass in hand that I got for Christmas. Rest in peace to Lemmy. Lemmy! Now that already, let's get on down to my Raw thoughts. For this last Raw tonight, 2015, there was a lot of steps that Raw took forward, but Raw took a couple steps back. I think the first hour and a half was decent. You had a decent Divas match, actually. A match that was 4 minutes last month on a Raw, but it got way more time tonight. But after New Day's involvement in Raw, the night kind of went downhill, leading up to the main event. Yeah, good things, bad things, good and bad, decent Raw tonight, a little bit up and down. We did get some Rumble news of a participant that hopefully gets eliminated first, because he's number one. So we kick things off on this decent little Raw, the last one of the year, with Vince McMahon coming out. He's been advertised to return following his involvement in Raw 2 weeks ago to save the ratings. When he got involved in the Roman Reigns Sheamus match, when Sheamus lost the title to Roman Reigns, and in that match, Vince, like I said, got involved and even got Superman punched by Roman Reigns. So Vince wanted his revenge tonight and wanted a piece of Reigns. For not just what happened last week, but also when he attacked Triple H at TLC. We haven't seen Triple H on Raw, because we've seen him at NXT TakeOver London just a few days after TLC. So then Reigns came out, the crowd, and started making some comments about the relatives of Roman Reigns, specifically the Wild Samoans, Alpha and Sika. You know, those personal shots to Roman's family, because Roman made some comments about the McMahon family as well last week, calling McMahon's a disgrace. So now Vince tried to one-up Reigns, trying to use his emotions to get the best of him. And he almost trapped him, because he made fun of his father, but he used him for all he had, blah, 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 blah. It was kind of a trap, because Roman Reigns pushed Vince McMahon because his emotions got the best of him. Vince pushed the right buttons, made fun of his family. And then we saw Stephanie McMahon come out with a bunch of New York cops, thinking they were going to arrest Roman for attacking Vince. That was the plan. That was the setup. But it was backfired when Stephanie started yelling at the cops as they refused to arrest Roman because there was insufficient evidence. But then Vince got involved. Vince started yelling because Stephanie was about to get arrested instead of Reigns. But then Vince made a big no-no. It doesn't matter if you're Vince McMahon or even Donald Trump. You put your hands on an officer, storyline or not, you do get arrested. So Vince put his hands on the cop, and he got arrested. To big ovations for the fans. Of course, the typical WWE storyline fashion, Vince would get bailed out. And of course, Vince would return later on in the evening after he posted bail to make an announcement concerning next week's Raw. It reads an okay Mike speaking today. We've always commented about his mic skills. I'm glad he made no more anatomy jokes. I'm going to say that. No more anatomy jokes. Glad it didn't go down like that. So now we're on to our first match of the night. Kevin Owens against Neville. A match that stemmed from last week's Slammies, where Kevin Owens, and in my mind, deserved to be Breakout Star of the Year. But it was Neville. Said it last week. Say it again. I'm a big Neville guy. Everyone knows I'm a big NXT guy. Big NXT mark. I'm going to an NXT show in Detroit next month. After seeing him in Cleveland. Traveling to Cleveland in June. When Owens was NXT champion. And I love both guys, but I think Neville has not done anything significant. You know, some okay feuds, but nothing too significant to suffice him winning. Owens did more significant things. Beat Cena and became IC champion. But I think ever since he lost the IC championship to TLC to Dean Ambrose, he's finally found his aggressive side again. The side we loved of him during his NXT days. He beat up Ambrose 2 weeks ago in a match against Ziggler. He beat up Ziggler last week. And tonight, he was ready to get all of his revenge on the guy who won the Breakout Star instead of Owens. That was Neville. And I was like, yeah, two former NXT champions facing off against each other. This should be good. Both guys were blowing early. Big kicks from Owens until he got knocked down by Neville. Setting up the red arrow for a quick finish. But then Owens got up before Neville could nail it. Trying to set up the Papa Powerbomb. But Neville countered to a small package. 1-2-3 victory for Neville. Wow, quick matchup. I was like, dang, it's too damn short. I'm not the biggest fan of screwy endings, as you know, or stupid endings like that one, where they're being too short. But I don't mind those endings if they serve the purpose. And the purpose of this was to make Owens look more like a violent badass, like he has been the last couple weeks, as I've been mentioning, with the beatdowns on Ambrose, the beatdown on Ziggler, and tonight the beatdown on Neville. And he beat the crap out of Neville, kind of like what he did in NXT back in January. That kind of rolled out Neville for a bit as he was making his transition to the main roster after Mania. So remember, Owens had a match with Neville, and he powerbombed Neville on the apron. He beat him up on the outside. That's kind of what he did. Nailed him against the steel steps, and a nasty clothesline coming out of the break. Even when the referees were trying to take him out, that's when he clotheslined him. So as Neville was getting destroyed by Owens on the outside, just getting pummeled, post-match assault, making Owens look like a violent badass that he should have been after he lost to Cena. He lost his edge a bit. After he lost to Cena at Money in the Bank, he lost his edge. He became a generic heel. But then he found his edge again. He found his violent nature again that made us love him in NXT. He was ready to set up the Papa Powerbomb on the apron to Neville like he did in January. But then here comes Ambrose. And these two brawled for a bit. With the outside including an Ambrose clothesline. But then Owens fled. With Ambrose standing tall. Of course, Ambrose would pay dividends. Or should I say, Owens would pay Ambrose dividends later on in the evening as Owens would get involved in an Ambrose match. Or should I say, a little bit after. I'll get to that in a bit. Now on to our next matchup. Becky Lynch against Sasha Banks. Now, before I get about this match, I want to talk about the crowd in Brooklyn for a second. The crowd in Brooklyn was decent tonight. You know, they did troll the show a bit. Like during the Vince McMahon Wayne segment, you heard Daniel Bryan chant, and then a CM Punk chant. Get over it, people. He's in UFC now. And then during this match, the crowd was saying, boring. Now, this match was better than the match they did a few weeks ago when even Mick Foley criticized WWE for not giving him enough time. It was 4 minutes. Tonight they gave him a lot of time. And it was not as good as the NXT matches, but this is a step in the right direction. Very long match, very decent match. There was a slow lull in the middle that got the crowd going. And there were some good spots with Becky Lynch flying on all of Team Bad. Of course, Naomi and Tamina did get involved in the match. And then the knee stomp from Sasha Banks. It was not as executed as usual, but it was still cool. Knee stomp as she put Becky in the top rope. Like I said, it was poorly done. It wasn't the best stuff I've seen, but it was still decently done. And it was kind of interesting to see Sasha Banks look awesome, for the most part. In the same venue, she had a match against Bayley. This was the first Raw since SummerSlam. And the first event in Brooklyn overall since NXT TakeOver in Raw that SummerSlam weekend. And SummerSlam 2. So, 3 nights in Brooklyn. Doing SummerSlam week's the first event there since that weekend. Especially with Sasha Banks in a great match against Bayley. One of the best matches of the year. By far, not just a Diva match, but one of the best matches overall. So, these are back and forth action. Like I said, you had some lulls and you had a little bit of botching with the top rope stomp. And then you had a submission game. I love when they were like, Banks was, I thought she was going for the bank statement, but she went for a modified hold, and then Becky reversed it, trying to go for the solve it. They got really excited in the last couple minutes with some great, decent action for both ladies, of course. The team battle, I guess, they got involved, including a one-time win. Sasha was put in submission by Becky. We did see Naomi tug Sasha to the rope with Tamina distracting the referee. So then after Lynch was coming with a big action, including a big suplex, T-Bag kept getting involved. Becky took them both out. She took a Naomi with a kick in the head. Or should I say, Lynch got taken out by Naomi with a kick in the head with Tamina distracting the referee. With that kick in the head by Naomi, Sasha capitalized with the bank statement. And with Charlotte at a house show tonight, Becky was forced to tap out with no help involved as Sasha Banks got the victory in this decent Divas matchup. They got enough time. There was a little bit of lulls. They got some little work to do when it comes to really making the Divas matches awesome. But at least they're finally breaking the chains. I've said this a few weeks ago, but the Divas try to break the chains, especially the NXT Divas, who had a lot more freedom and having longer matches and more competitive action in NXT. They had to break the chains of the limitations brought to them to the main roster. You know, the main roster had a lot of limitations when it comes to limitations of time and what kind of spots you can do. They broke those chains tonight. They broke through the limitations of match time, and they had a decent matchup tonight. Great effort, though. A for effort. Like I said, not as good as the NXT title match back in May, but still, better than the Raw match they did about a month ago when it was only 4 minutes. A lot more time, a lot more effort. Went in the right direction. Like I said, it's one of many examples of Raw going in the right direction. You know, they a couple of steps forward, and after the second hour, a couple of steps back. Next up, Team Bad's trying to be like the New Day, like the all-female version of New Day. They're kind of okay doing it. But there's only one New Day. And New Day Locks. Probably the last bright spot on Raw until probably the main event was, of course, the New Day coming out. And this was the venue where they debuted the trombone after SummerSlam on Raw. Because they won the title at Raw on SummerSlam. They won the title. And then the next night they debuted the trombone. That's when I finally said they finally found their identity. The comedic heels. Maybe a little bit too much in the company. Make them more fierce as well. It's not making them losing clean. They lost to the Usos last week on Raw. Although they did beat the Lucha Dragons on SmackDown. But Lucha Dragons wanted revenge as both members of Lucha Dragons would face off against members of New Day in singles matches. First things first, you have Kalisto and Kofi. Really, very quick match. But for what it was still a good match between two great high-flying wrestlers. With Kalisto goes with big moves, big kicks, big arm drag, great grappling to begin the matchup. Until indeed, Kalisto hitting a big splash. And then, of course, that's when the New Day numbers got the best of them as Xavier got on the apron trying to distract Kalisto. But then Big E got a hold of Kalisto after Sin Cara got involved as well. Sin Cara knocked out Big E. And with distractions, Kalisto would capitalize as he would hook him on a Kofi in a 1-2-3 victory for Kalisto, pinning one member of the Tag Team Champions New Day thanks to the distractions from the outside. Like I said, very quick matchup, but decent action. So then, the New Day wanted revenge. So they set up Big E to take on Sin Cara. Now, Sin Cara was very overmatched here against Big E when it comes to weight and everything. And of course, Sin Cara paid the price for taking on Big E. There's a nasty spot when Big E tossed Kalisto's partner Sin Cara off the top rope. He landed gingerly on his shoulder, landed pretty hard on it. It was found out later he had a separated shoulder. And despite that injury, he fought through it. He fought through that injury. And he tried to go. And that was a nasty spot, man. That was, especially the impact was nasty. But then despite that, Sin Cara went back, went for a corkscrew senton. And then he did like a senton off the middle rope with Big E on his back. And that was an awesome spot. Despite the injury, he fought through it. You know, I'll give Sin Cara credit. Despite his injury, he fought through, but it wasn't enough. As after that spot, that middle rope senton, he was still favoring that with the fall not really, with him not fully recovering from that fall, Big E would capitalize as the big ending would be delivered. 1-2-3 victory for Big E. So New Day lost one, they won one. So there you go. Win-lose situation for New Day. And it'll suck if this is a big injury that'll take Sin Cara out. So, as the Lucha Dragons are finally getting over. A couple weeks ago, besides me bitching about the limitations about the Divas matches not giving them the freedom to have long matches and very competitive matches. Finally breaking through with that with Sasha and Becky and I breaking through with a very competitive matchup. Laws and all, but they need to work on that to make more competitive matches on the main roster. At least we're making the right steps for it. Lucha Dragons have to be in the middle of the pack. Now they're finally stepping through. You know, they had a great showing at TLC. Kalisto's starting to break through as a single star, especially with his showing in the WWE title tournament in his great spot at TLC. And Lucha Dragons are finally getting over with the fans after so long, and I hope this ain't a major setback for them if Kalisto's partner Sin Cara's shoulder injury is very serious that would require time out of the wing. I don't want to be out for a certain amount of time. You know, not only do we already have so many people injured, Orton's out, Cesaro's out, go down the list. But if Sin Cara's out, like I said, not only would it be already thinning the roster even more with the newest injuries already, it would also slow down momentum of Lucha Dragons. So I hope Sin Cara recovers well and it's not a serious injury. Only be out for maybe a couple weeks, not months like others are right now. So there you go. Now, this is the point when Raw kind of goes downhill. I mean, like the first hour and a half was decent. But then after this, Raw would take a million steps back. So Miz came out for a year-end spectacular. Basically was trying to run down every day of his year. We had all these people interrupting him. I call them the Job Squad. People who have been used a lot and being used mostly for jobbing. We had Ryback, Heath Slater, R-Truth with a funny thing, thinking he was going for a slammy again. And then you had Zack Ryder, which I love because I'm a Ryder guy. Woo woo woo. Goldust came out. And then Big Show came out. Big Show's back. Who fucking cares? The crowd said it all. Please retire. So then Big Show came out and beat everybody up. There was one spot that was kind of funny. Big Show went head to head against R-Truth. And R-Truth was like, no. He was trying to knock out R-Truth. R-Truth knocked himself out. Jokingly. But Big Show didn't buy that. Big Show don't play that. Choke slammed R-Truth for playing that joke. Really taking him out. And this is where we found out our first competitor for the Royal Rumble. Big Show. Now, there's a bit of confusion around this. Big Show said he's the first competitor. Some say he's number one. I think he said that. That he's the number one. He's drawing number one. He'll be the first competitor in the Rumble. The commentary did not say he's number one. That he's just the first competitor. Kind of straighten it out. Is Big Show the number one entrant? Or is he just the overall first person to sign up for the Rumble? So then we have a match between Big Show and Ryback. God, I'm sick of these matches. WWE makes some positive moves, and then they have Big Show and Ryback wrestle for the millionth fucking time. Blowing the crowd out. And this one, like I said, Raw went downhill after this. After such a great start, Raw would not. They were trying to regain momentum at the end of the show, but it was a little too late. So it's just punching, kicking, clothesline, chops. Just a beatdown, just limitations, because both of these guys can't do much. Besides punch, kick, clothesline. And then right back in the move, some drop kick. It was going for the meat hook, but then Big Show went out of the ring. Count out, Ryback wins. Hope these guys don't have a lengthy feud and wrestle every fucking week. That's one of the big negatives with WWE. Everyone fights the same people every fucking week. Sasha and Becky fought before, but at least this time tonight, the last time they faced on Raw, the match was longer, as I mentioned. So then on to our next matchup, the 6-man tag with Sheamus, Rusev, and the King Barrett against the Usos and Dean Ambrose. With the Usos coming in, with Jimmy coming in with some big nasty moves. Until you got isolated with Ambrose coming in with some big moves. But Rusev was in there beating up people, taking Jimmy out to the outside into the jump bunker, and even beat up on his knee a bit. So then Jimmy was isolated. With Sheamus coming in beating him up for a bit, taking advantage of the injury of Jimmy Uso's knee. He kind of injured it a few weeks ago, storyline-wise, but now they're taking target of it again. Of course, that wasn't when he was injured for a while. Or was it an injured shoulder? I'm not sure. So then Jimmy got the hot tag to Ambrose. He came like a house of fire, taking on everybody with some big elbows. But then Ambrose got some big moves from Rusev coming in. Missing a headbutt. Enough time for Ambrose to get the tag in to Jay. And Sheamus got in too. With Jay coming with some big nasty moves. With Sheamus missing the pro kick. Then a super kick was made by Jay. But as Jay was going for the big finish. For the big frog splash. Sheamus put his knees up. Blocking it. And then the pro kick. 1-2-3 victory for Sheamus in the League of Nations. They could have been looking decently last couple weeks. Yeah, Sheamus lost the title, but the League of Nations has been beating down everybody. Of course, they beat down the Usos on Raw last week after their match against the New Day. Their 3-on-2 handicap match, and then they beat up the Usos again tonight. And it's decent 6-man tag. But then Ambrose was still hurting. And remember what I said earlier about Kevin Owens trying to pay reprimand to Ambrose when he came out doing Owens' beatdown of Neville? Well, that's exactly what Owens did. He came out and beat up on Ambrose for sticking his nose in the ball with him and Neville early in the evening. He beat up on Ambrose a bit. He nailed him against the ring steps and up against the barricades and then powerbombing him through the announce table. Laying him out. So once again, Owens looked like a badass again. Not only did he look like a violent badass tonight in the post-match beatdown against Neville despite losing. I think not only losing the match would make Owens look better, but also losing the Slammy makes him look better. Same with New Day. New Day, in my mind, did deserve the tag team of the year. But I think then by them losing to Slammy, will give him more motivation to be more vicious. Owens, same thing. He's going to take the loss of the IC Championship and take the loss of the Slammies as motivation. And that's exactly what Owens is doing. Taking that negative into a positive and being more aggressive and more vicious, like the way he was at NXT. Made love him. And exactly what he did the last couple weeks. He did it again tonight with the beatdown of Neville and the beatdown on Ambrose following the 6-man tag. So then on to our main event. John Cena against Alberto Del Rio, with Cena returning after taking a few months off as Del Rio beat him at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view to win the U.S. Championship, so Cena can make a reality show and promote Sisters, a movie he was in with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, which got slaughtered when it opened against Star Wars. So Cena returned tonight, talking about kind of complaining that tonight's match against Del Rio was, at the time, non-title. I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, they're making it non-title, huh? So then Del Rio came out, talking about why he is not defending the title on Raw tonight against John Cena. And then Cena used intimidation tactics in a little bit of Cody lines. Calling Del Rio a punk bitch. Del Rio started yelling at him in Spanish. And with those intimidation factors, yep indeed, Del Rio was going into putting up the United States Championship tonight. Before the match, they did put up a tribute video, last minute tribute video to Lemmy. That was cool. Even if the death announcement was made just early on in the broadcast, I will applaud WWE for their effort to make a tribute to Lemmy so last minute. It didn't look forced, it didn't look last minute. But with the amount of time they had to do it, it was still awesome for them to do it. Good effort though. They'll probably have a more proper tribute on SmackDown because they have a lot more time to edit it. But for the time they had to make it, with only a short time to do it, great effort. Including a treat for Triple H. So on to the main event now for the U.S. Championship. John Cena against Alberto Del Rio. A rematch from Hell in a Cell. It was a little bit better than a Hell in a Cell match. A little better, despite a screwy ending, which I'll get to. So they were coming in, making fun of Cena. There was a cool chant earlier from Brooklyn, when they call landed hard on his shoulder after he got taken down by Big E. I heard him say, "We want Cena." No, we don't. Because he got booed. I'm surprised Wayne's got cheered more than Cena. Usually Wayne was getting booed in cities that are vicious, like Brooklyn and Jersey and Philly and Pittsburgh. Wayne's would get booed. Maybe not Philly, because of course he got cheered 2 weeks ago, as mentioned. Didn't feel forced when he won the title there after winning the one there and getting booed. But Cena got booed a lot more than Reigns did. I'm surprised. Like I said, Reigns got cheered a lot more. There was some mixed boos, but not as much as it did in Cena. And of course, the obligatory John Cena sucks. I think the fans miss doing that. It's like, yay, Cena's back. Let's sing again. John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks. I've said it. Hate the guy's character. He's a great person. He's been around some decent matches and bringing back prestige to the U.S. Championship. Trying to win it back tonight. There was some decent spots. With Del Rio coming in some big nasty moves, some big nasty kicks. And it was a cool spot when Cena was going for the half year. And then Del Rio countered it to the crossface. Not the crossface. The cross-arm break. That was a cool counter there. After Cena did the Final Knuckle Shuffle, that's when he was doing the FU. And that's when it was countered to the cross-arm breaker. So then Cena go for his submission move. After Del Rio with the cross-arm breaker. And before he did set up this SCFU for a second time, Cena went for a powerbomb. But then he was going for another FU. Where he got pushed into Del Rio. Yeah, Del Rio got knocked into the referee. Kicked him in the face. Knocking the referee out. So, Cena got in the SCFU, but referee was out. Del Rio was tapping. And I saw the referee knocked out and Del Rio tapping with no referee. And I was like, I smell interference. I smell Sheamus. I smell Rusev. I smell Barrett. I watch so many wrestling shows, I get instincts of when certain spots are going to happen. Because I had an instinct that we were going to see interference when we knocked out. Ding, ding, ding. I won! What do I win? Yep. Here comes Sheamus. Here comes Rusev. Here comes Barrett to interfere in the matchup. And as Sheamus was trying to pro kick on Cena, Cena moved out of the way, and Rusev got super kicked, pro kicked by Sheamus. So Del Rio was trying to capitalize on it with a nasty kick, but Cena kicked out. So then Cena would go for the FU again, trying to get the pin, but then Sheamus pulled the referee out, causing the disqualification. Screwy finish. We'll probably get another match between these two guys. Maybe at the Rumble. So I thought Cena was going to win tonight. Because Cena, like I said, he bought a lot more prestige to the U.S. Championship. But it was his first match back. So they got to have Cena fight for it. Not automatically get the title in his first match back. You got to add more intrigue to it. Probably win it at the Rumble. So I don't want him to win the U.S. Championship again at Mania. That was last year. He beat Rusev at Mania for the U.S. title. He should win at the Rumble, probably. So then the beatdown on Cena began. Following the matchup and following the involvement of Sheamus and Rusev, breaking up the count to screw Cena on winning the U.S. Championship tonight. So then here come the Usos. Still battered and booed from their attacks from the League of Nations during their 6-man tag. But they then got beaten down when Sheamus putting on a steel chair. And right on cue, here comes Roman Reigns. I smelt that, and I felt that instinct too. Spewed the hell out of Rusev. Superman punch Del Rio. Staring down Sheamus. Sheamus had a steel chair in his hand. Both walked in. Superman punched Sheamus with the chair in front of Sheamus' face. And after that, here comes Vince McMahon coming out. Because, as mentioned, he was out on bail. And he was going to return during this Raw. And this is what he did. Showed up and said, "Hey, Roman, you think you got me? You think you got me tonight going to jail? Well, next week on the first Raw of the new year in San Antonio, you're gonna get it. Rematch time again as Reigns and Sheamus part 1,000,000 will take place next week on Raw with your special guest referee, Vince McMahon, which will probably set up the Rumble rematch. See what I mean? Raw's taking a couple steps back. The first hour and a half, they took a lot of steps forward. But the second hour on, took a lot of steps back. Vince's involvement's decent to get ratings and all. And Vince will be, of course, biased towards Reigns. Against Reigns, should I say. Biased against Reigns next week. Some sort of screwy ending, which will probably set up, like I said, a Rumble rematch between these two guys, which we don't want. We don't want this feuding up to the Rumble. Yes, I said about their match at TLC wasn't as bad as I thought. It didn't suck as bad. It was still... there was not a lot of spots in that match, but still not as bad as I thought. There was still some physical violence and some brutality in that match. But we don't want to see wrestle a lot. They've been wrestling almost every other week. So they wrestle next week, and I feel we're going to have a shitty ending to suffice a Rumble match. I've told you about screwy endings with a purpose. And I do see a screwy ending with a purpose. Screwy ending of Sheamus and Reigns to suffice a Rumble rematch. But we don't want that. We don't want a screwy match with a purpose next week. Screwy ending with a purpose. We don't want that next week. But we may see that. So that's it. My final Raw review of the year. Decent up and down the wall. Some good things, some bad things. Making great steps forward. Like I said, taking a couple steps back. So hopefully take more positive steps forward in the weeks to come, leading towards not just the Rumble, but WrestleMania as well. And of course, The Rock's appearing at Mania. Of course, he announced that today. Mentioned it on my Attack Sports today. by him being confirmed for Mania. Maybe in a match against Triple H. Maybe in a match with Rousey, if Rousey can make it. After that involvement last year in Mania, which is awesome. So we shall see what kind of involvement The Rock will be in. Like I said, thank you for watching this Raw review, final one of the year. Have a very happy and safe New Year's Eve, everybody. With that in mind, you've been attacked by the last review of the year from Zach. Thank you so much. See ya. Yeah.